Hello, I'm Juan Fernandez. Here's a look at your top stories today. Looking for answers and calling for justice after the shooting death of a man at a bar in San Pedro. KCAL News reporter Luzdelia Caballero is working on that story for us this afternoon.
A family left heartbroken, completely shattered after their loved one was shot and killed inside the Machista bar here in San Pedro. And earlier today, they were present, leaving some candles. They let us know that ultimately they want justice. The person responsible fled the scene and to this day is still on the run. They tell us that Tyrone Tyers actually came to this bar after his fiance called him, letting him know that she felt unsafe. So he came here. LAPD says that there seemed to have been an altercation that happened inside, and eventually that led to shots being fired. Eventually, of course, killing Tyrone Tyers and injuring two others. Among those injured, Tyrone's fiance and mother of their two children. Tyrone leaves behind a 6-year-old boy and a 10-month-old boy. The third victim lives just a couple of houses down the road from where this business is. And the family really just calling on anybody who saw anything, who knows anything, to come forward. LAPD describing the shooter as a woman in her 20s. We'll have the very latest on this story and, of course, the family's message to the shooter coming up on KCAL.
The city of Los Angeles has created a task force to crack down on copper wire theft. City council member Kevin De Leon and Tracy Park both say the situation is at a crisis level. Thieves target copper wiring used to eliminate street lamps across the city, and when they're ripped out, that area then plunges into darkness, increasing safety threats. De Leon and Park say the repair bill last year totaled $17 million, and that the 6th Street Bridge is one of the main targets.
Just on the 6th Street Bridge, just on the lighting for the barriers, and this is just the barriers, it's not the complete lighting. We've had more than 38,000 feet of copper wire stolen. That 38,000 feet of copper wire represents 7 miles.
Hard to believe, right? Well, that scrap value he's talking about of those 7 miles of stolen copper is estimated to be about $11,000. The task force would consist of the LAPD and the Bureau of Street Lighting. All right, turning now to our weather, a complete 180 from the weekend, from the rain to the sunshine, as you see right here as we look along the coast. KCAL News meteorologist Olga Ospina joins us now with our next weather forecast. Olga.
Hi, Juan. Yes, dry conditions. We're seeing some sunshine. And if you have stepped outside, look at these numbers. Temperatures are way up from what we were feeling yesterday. A good 10 degrees for Santa Clarita, 12 degrees hotter in Pasadena. We're up 13 in Burbank, and plenty of warming through the Inland Empire as well. So all of us feeling this warming trend, and wait until you see what's in store for the weekend. Here's a look at our radar. So we have dried out, a little bit of cloud cover still lingering with us, and temperatures finally getting a little closer to average this afternoon. We are in the 60s for a lot of us, even some upper 60s in Van Nuys as well as Burbank. As we head into the Antelope Valley, upper 50s for Lancaster into Palmdale. For the LA area, we are feeling 66 in Beverly Hills, mid 60s in Pasadena. For the Orange County area, low to mid 60s is the story for you. And for the Inland Empire, we're feeling 60s, mid 60s in Norco, Fontana checking in at 62, low 60s in Beaumont, cool in the mountains, 47 for Lake Arrowhead. So let's talk about what to expect over the extended period. We, of course, have been very cold. We've been wet. That rain that impacted us for several days, we're drying out, and we are warming up big time as we head into later in the week. Take a look at what's expected this weekend. So one of those hottest locations, usually places like Woodland Hills, we're going to be at 76 on Saturday, mostly sunny skies. And by Sunday, we are near 80 degrees with sunny skies. So it is going to be abnormally hot for this time of year. Yes, middle of winter, and we're flirting with the 80s. Take a look at rain chances as well. So we're not only going to be warm, but we are going to be dry. Taking a look at the big picture, we do have a system that's going to be impacting parts of the Pacific Northwest down into Northern California, even the Central Coast as we head into tomorrow. We have a building ridge of high pressure that's going to keep that rain to the north of us. And as we head into late in the week, we're really going to see this ridge build, and that's going to bring us those much warmer temperatures, even some offshore winds potentially helping to boost those numbers. getting us close to 80 degrees for some of those inland spots. Tomorrow, though, we're going to feel a bit of a cool down because of that system to our north. A little bit more cloudy skies. Temperatures topping out mostly still in the 60s for us. But as we head into the end of the week and the weekend, even early next week, look at these numbers. We're talking low 70s by Friday, 74 on Saturday for the valleys, and upper 70s into Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. As we head towards the coast, we're going to see some nice temperatures there as well. Still a couple more days with some cloud cover, some morning fog, 62 degrees tomorrow afternoon, upper 60s by Friday, and then those 70s return by the weekend and even into early next week. So not too bad for the month of January. Back to you, Juan.
Well, you know what that music means. We are counting down to Super Bowl 58, and CBS is your home for the big game at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. Millions are getting excited, but so are scammers, expecting to prey on some of that excitement. Here to tell us how to avoid fraud is Chris Drake with iConnective. Chris, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you. Pleased to be here.
Glad to have you here. First up, Chris, sports betting, as we all know, is very popular for big games like the Super Bowl. How can fans know that a site or a platform they go to is legit?
Well, first thing I would say is a consumer should always go to a site they know, finding it the way they have generally found it, and never take a text message from a stranger with a link as the bona fide way to reach that kind of site. That's just fraught with impersonation and danger.
And Chris, you mentioned text messages, but what are other ways that scammers are getting to people and targeting people when it comes to sports betting like this? Yeah,
so basically anything to do with where you can reach a lot of consumers is going to be a favorite medium. So social networks, there's all kinds of traps left in social networks. Phone calls is still the number one means of luring a consumer into a scam. Text messages in the last 2-3 years have become actually also very popular. Maybe in a year or two, they'll vie for first place with the phone call. But basically, a consumer's digital identity, it comes in various forms. The social media handle, yes, but the phone number is their number one identity, and there you can reach them through text messaging and voice, which are the prominent paths for the scammers.
And Chris, yesterday we were talking here on the rundown about artificial intelligence, AI. Are you seeing that coming into play as well?
Oh, yes. We're already seeing a lot of AI making its way through illegal robocalls, the scammers' calls. Haven't seen specific data, but I expect the very same observations about robotexting and messaging scams. So absolutely, the fraudsters are always the fastest to capitalize on technology. They're really good at being first to market.
And Chris, what about scams when it comes to tickets for the big game? You know, people want to go and enjoy. Right. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so you mentioned the gambling, betting. That's often a ruse, but so are tickets to any scarcely available event, a concert. The Super Bowl, probably the biggest scarce event for attending in the country's annual history year after year. So there will be fake tickets available, very hard to come by, fake box seats, sweepstakes, enter a sweepstakes to win tickets. Those are almost certainly fake, okay? So people need to be on guard that there's no such thing as a free ticket to the Super Bowl, and even buying one at this point a couple weeks ahead is also unlikely to be, factual.
Yeah, we do this every year, Chris. You know, we warn people, we tell people. Common sense tells a lot of people that something that sounds too good to be true probably is, but yet people fall for it time and time again. So what do people need to look out for, in your opinion, and what you've seen?
Just before I answer that, I'll say you're absolutely right, because we see that robotext scams have been successful at a 10-fold order of magnitude beyond what they were in 2019, say, through to 2022. So 10 times. People should have been getting smarter, but there's 10 times the losses which are reported, which we know to be less than 5% of what's really happening. So people just need to pay more attention. Hopefully they will. But the way to protect yourself is to be proactive.
Right.
I'd say, what do you do first before you even get involved in a potential scam and maybe get caught up, maybe not. But if you did, how do you stay safe with a bit of proactive planning? Well, basically, protect your digital identity here. So back up your phone, to your PC. If you get infected by a lapse of judgment around a link in a text message or a phone call that draws you to a website that's planted with malware, you can get restored really fast. So that's really important. But even more important than that is freeze your credit, right?
Right.
It's so easy to unfreeze when you want it to be open, to open a new utility, to take out a car loan, whatever that is. You can do this so easily on the web, very fast. And so freeze it now. It's free to do. It's easy to do. That way, if you're caught up in an identity theft scam, they won't be opening credit accounts in your name, accounts with Veterans Affairs for wheelchairs that are highly subsidized that actually go to a fraudster and get sold on the black market. And you get a bill later.
Yeah.
People get bills for, prosthetics, for amputee corrections, and they're not amputees. And they find out that they've had identity theft. And these things cost a fortune. So freeze your credit, and these kind of risks will go away. So those are key. If you're caught up in a scam, report it as soon as you realize that this looks like a scam.
Well, Chris, hopefully our conversation here is going to help people avoid becoming a victim. We thank you so much for your time today. Thanks so much.
My pleasure. Thank you.
All right. Well, all eyes are on the New Hampshire primary. It's happening tonight. Voters are casting ballots in the race for the Republican presidential nomination. And KCAL News reporter Skylar Henry is in Manchester, New Hampshire with us with the very latest. Skylar.
Hey everyone, good to see you. 22 delegates up for grabs here in New Hampshire as former Ambassador Nikki Haley looks to try to close the gap that is distant right now between her and former President Donald Trump, who has a commanding lead, at least according to most recent polling that is out there. But she has crisscrossed this state, fine-tuned her message, and is optimistic. Voters streamed to the polls, casting ballots in the first one-on-one contest in the Republican race.
I voted for Trump. I care most about Second Amendment and pretty much staying out of war.
With 22 delegates at stake, former President Donald Trump stopped at a Londonderry polling place. He's predicting a big win here in New Hampshire, a week after his Iowa victory.
There's never been a movement like this, make America great again, in the history of our country.
Polls favor the former president by a wide margin, but Nikki Haley is hoping to cash in with independents and anti-Trump voters. Her supporters say the former UN ambassador has what it takes to be president, especially when it comes to foreign policy.
She understands the intricacies of that, understands that we need to be strong on the world stage. And right now we're perceived as weak.
She just adds a very optimistic energy to the room. And that's who we want to lead our country, someone who is very positive.
In fact, the results are already in from tiny Dixville Notch. All 6 registered voters cast their ballots for Haley.
I'm not in the prediction business, but I do believe that now that it's a 2-person race, it might be a little closer than the Trump campaign would like.
Campaigning in Hampton, Haley welcomed the early sweep.
You know, right now we'll take whatever we can take. It was certainly a good start. It gave us some good energy and momentum, and I'm grateful to those 6 people.
She says no matter what happens in the Granite State, she'll continue to fight. And some of the exit polling that has been out there that CBS News has just put out shows that Republican voters here in the Granite State say that they are concerned about the state of the economy as well as immigration and also abortion issues. The first polls close here in New Hampshire at 7 p.m. with the last ones wrapping up at around 8 p.m. Eastern. We're here in New Hampshire. I'm Skylar Henry. Back to you.
All right. Always good to see you, Skylar. Thanks so much. This has been CBS News Los Angeles, The Rundown. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Juan Fernandez, and we'll be back live right here at 4 on CBS News Los Angeles.